All right, welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're in the insurance business, you already know the drill. The second an application is submitted, total chaos usually hits, right? I mean, you're probably seeing spreadsheets in your nightmares at this point. Well, today, we are unpacking a platform that's built to tame that exact chaos. We're looking at LIT-AMS, which is, quite literally, the ultimate post-sale operating system. And it's designed specifically for independent agents, growing agencies, and massive enterprise networks. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to systematically cover the post-sale OS, automated statement parsing, mandatory training, scaling your business, tracking true marketing ROI, and finally, enterprise override rollups. Let's jump right in.
Okay, let's dive into this first major pillar, the post-sale operating system.
I want you to honestly answer this question for me. Do you actually know where your money is? Because, let's face it, the painful reality for most operators out there is that commissions are just scattered. They're across a dozen different carrier portals. Chargebacks sneak up way too late, which completely destroys your payroll confidence, by the way, and your whole back office is drowning in disconnected spreadsheets. If you can't clearly see the life cycle of your pending, paid, and chargeback production, you're basically operating in the dark.
Now, this is exactly where we have to separate a traditional CRM from what LIT-AMS actually does. Standard front-end CRMs, they're fantastic for lead activities, sending texts, all that stuff, but, that's really all just pre-sale guessing. Once a policy is actually sold, those front-end systems just go completely blind. LIT-AMS, on the other hand, is a true post-sale operating system. It tracks your actual commissions, monitors those pesky chargebacks, and gives you absolute payroll confidence. It really is the difference between guessing what you might make and actually knowing your payable production.
Moving on to part 2, let's take a look at the automated statement parsing engine.
So let's demystify the tech behind this revenue protection engine. We all know carriers send over these incredibly messy, complicated PDF statements. Well, with LIT-AMS, step 1 is simple. Just upload that PDF. Then step 2 kicks in. The system uses advanced document parsing tools, specifically Poplar and optical character recognition, or OCR, to physically read the rows, extract the data, and automatically match policy numbers to the sales already sitting in your database. And finally, step 3, it instantly updates the status of that sale to either funded or marks it as a chargeback. It takes what usually requires hours of mind-numbing manual reconciliation and literally does it in seconds.
But hey, what happens when a carrier misspells a name or uses some weird old policy ID? Well, the system is designed to protect your commission record first and foremost. So if it isn't 100% sure, it triggers a strict manual linking fallback. Those unresolved rows don't just vanish into thin air. They're clearly marked for your review. You can just look at the unmatched rows, compare them to your existing sales, and link them manually. And why does this matter so much? Because every single manual link creates a full audit trail. It acts as this critical safety rail for your money, making sure you don't get hit with incorrect funding or duplicate chargebacks.
All right, on to part 3, mandatory training and compliance. This is all about enforcing the rules. We all know the absolute struggle of sending out a training video and just hoping your stack actually watches it. Well, LIT-AMS completely changes the game here. When a manager assigns a training module and sets a deadline, the system is tracking it closely. If that deadline passes, the agent is immediately hit with a clear, unavoidable warning screen. It is right in their face and absolutely requires immediate attention.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the built-in video player enforces genuine compliance. You can't just skip to the very end to get credit. No way. The platform naturally disables fast-forwarding until the playback reaches those moments on its own. That Mark as Watched button, it literally will not unlock until the video is fully completed. So it takes training from being just optional content and turns it into a strict operational requirement.
And what if they still try to ignore it? Well, the system drops the hammer. It uses this powerful mechanism called the feature lock. Think about the internal exam requirement. If an agent misses their deadline, or if they fail the internal portal exam, the platform completely blocks them from loading any new sales. I mean, they are physically locked out of creating new business in the system until they go back, actually watch the video, and pass that exam. Now, that is true enforced compliance.
Okay, let's pivot to part 4. Scaling your insurance business.
A massive part of scaling up is recruiting, right? Well, when an individual agent who's on a standard plan joins an enterprise network using LIT-AMS, they get to take advantage of something called the Join Small Business promo. And this is brilliant. The agent gets upgraded to powerful small business features, which was normally a $299 value, all for their regular $99 rate. But the absolute key takeaway for you here is the privacy boundary. The parent company gets total visibility into the business written specifically for them, sure, but the joint agent's individual workspace, their personal clients, their private sales, all of that remains entirely private and completely walled off.
Plus, in today's world full of spam calls and endless noise, agents desperately need tools to build credibility. That's where the personal web profile comes in. It serves as the ultimate public-facing verification tool. An agent can upload a high-quality business photo, write a custom bio, and prominently display their active state licenses. They can literally just text or email this directly to a client to establish immediate trust. It proves exactly who the client is doing business with right from the jump.
Let's move to part 5 and see how this builds into tracking true marketing ROI.
Welcome to the Ad Spend Overview Command Center. Look, in a standard CRM, you know how much you spent and how many raw leads you got, and that's about it. But LIT-AMS connects the dots all the way to the bank. Managers record their ad spend by the source, say Facebook or WhatsApp. Then, when an agent actually creates a sale on the platform, they tag that specific lead source. The system then automatically matches the money you spent directly against the actual policies that were created from that specific campaign.
So the crucial point is exactly how that ROI is calculated here. A 200% return on investment in LIT-AMS isn't just some vanity metric based on raw lead counts or, submitted applications. No, it connects your ad spend directly to the actual carrier-funded commissions, minus any of those statement chargebacks we talked about earlier. It tells you exactly which campaigns are putting net retained revenue into your pocket and which ones are just bleeding your agency dry.
And finally, let's look at Part 6, Enterprise Override Commission Rollups. This is all about executive insight and managing your downlines. When you have agents, multiple companies, and joined workspaces all producing sales simultaneously, things get incredibly complicated. But the owner dashboard gives enterprise leaders a beautifully clean, separated view of their override earnings. It distinctly separates what the writing agent makes from the override revenue that's generated for the parent enterprise. And again, privacy is strictly protected here. This high-level financial data never, ever leaks into the private workspaces of the individual agents.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact chronological flow of your money. So, day 1, the agent sells the policy. Boom. By week 2, the automated parsing engine reads the statement and sees that the carrier paid the commission. Instantly, the agent's ledger updates to reflect their direct cut. By week 3, the enterprise receives its override portion, completely cleanly separated. And then, by month end, the owner is looking at true net retained revenue right on their dashboard. There are no spreadsheets, there is absolutely no guessing.
Which brings us to the ultimate question I want you to take away from this explainer today. Are you actually ready to stop running your insurance business on spreadsheets? I mean, we've just seen how LIT-AMS transforms complete chaos into crystal clarity. From automated statement parsing via OCR to locking down your compliance workflows, tracking your true ROI against funded sales, and seamlessly rolling up those enterprise overrides, it is genuinely time to upgrade your operational command center. Thanks so much for focusing in with me today, and keep learning.